So have you ever wondered, for those of you guys who are free-to-play players and low spenders, how you can actually optimize your Miyamoto March? And yes, for me, if you just unlock Miyamoto and just open it up for just, I think, $1, I think it's still safe to say that you still are a free-to-play player. For this video, if you are looking for budget builds for your Miyamoto that is still optimized and can be used by you as a free-to-play player and a low spender as your main March in your account, you are in the right place at the right time. Join me in this video in unveiling the builds that I recommend for your Miyamoto with, of course, succeeding tiers on which you should prioritize first. I want to take this chance to thank our partner for this video, which is Eniba. What is up, fam? TITOBODS here.
Hi, Tito.
Are you a new spender in Age of Empires Mobile or planning to make your very first purchase? Well then, you're in the right place at the right time. Eniba has teamed up with our channel to bring you some amazing deals. Now, if you're asking what is Eniba, well, don't worry, Anne's got you covered. Anne?
Pleasure, TITOBODS. Eniba is your go-to digital store for games, gift cards, game points, and top-ups. And with TITOBOD's special link, you can get up to 20% cashback on Age of Empires Mobile products, only on the marketplace.
You heard that right. Up to 20% cashback just by using my special link. And I will put the link in the description. That includes every purchase of Empire coin deals and Apex coin deals. Whoa, right? Oh my god! Wow! So what are you waiting for? Start your Eniba journey right here with me, your geeky Tito. And have a lot of savings from here on out. And with that, TITOBODS out.
Eniba, the fastest growing marketplace for gamers. Ahoo!
And in the process, will help you out trying to get the best value for money from purchasing Apex coins and Empire coins. But anyway, without further ado, let's continue with the video. We have Miyamoto, and Miyamoto is always going to be the main spotlight hero here. Anyway, as I've said, if you're going to ask if Miyamoto is a worthy hero, the short answer is yes. He has been used from Season 1 up to Season 7 right now, to the current season, and maybe extended into Season 8 or Season 9, who knows. But he is one of the prominent hero, one of the best heroes to use as a swordsman main. Now, let's see what we have in store for Tier 1, Miyamoto, Scipio, and Lagertha. And here are the skill builds that I want you to get. So we have here Furious Charge and your High Spirit. Why are we going for Furious Charge and High Spirit instead of the other skills available here in this particular build, like your Earth Crush and your Peerless Strike? The short answer is it's because of the activation of the Lagertha. Okay, because of the Judgment skill, which will help your Miyamoto deal another instance of his signature skills, which means that you can actually max out your Furious Charge in no time. And having that said, your Furious Charge will be able to allow you to get this much damage in 5 stacks. Let's just round it up to 100% might damage. That is a lot of might damage. Now, having that said, also, with the help of your High Spirit now, you will have a higher chance again of activating your Moment of Yin. Secondly, the benefit of the High Spirit, if you activate the Moment of Yin, you will also be able to help your second hero with the highest might, next to Miyamoto, activate her or his signature skill by 50%. Plus, it will also increase the skill damage by 30%. Now, in that sense, you must make sure that your Lagertha will receive that bonus from your Miyamoto in order for your Lagertha to also help the Moto with the bonus of your Valkyrie's Edge, which is her signature skills, and you know already that this will also help Miyamoto and Lagertha herself to actually activate another signature skill. In the process, it's like a cycle of activation. That is why this March is pretty strong. And in addition to this March, your Scipio Africanus will give your Miyamoto a chance to deal a critical strike, especially on the first 5 seconds of the fight. You will have a chance to deal critical strike, and then after that, you will now deal it every 4 activations of your signature skills. You can see here. Builds here with your customizable skills for your Scipio, for me, is based on how you play the game. And I will tell you that in a bit. So we have here Lagertha for now. These are the only skills for now that I want you guys to get if you're using this particular mark. High Spirit can be exchanged really for a Bloodthirst depending on your situation with your builds of your rings, your gems, and your mount with adornment. So it will actually be based on that. But your High Spirit, but your Raging Bloodline for me is a constant here that you must not change if you are using this build, because this will help your Miyamoto have more damage because of the extra might, and then increased damage also plus might bonus, which is insanely huge when if you're going to ask me. Plus in addition to that, based on this one, you will have a reduce or reduction of critical strike damage taken by 30%, which is for me a huge thing also. Now, as I've said, Bloodthirst and High Spirit can be interchanged depending on your build and, of course, the situation that you are in. But first, I want you guys to know if each star are really important or if it's important to max out your Miyamoto, your Scipio, or your Lagertha. If you're going to ask if Miyamoto can still be good at 3 stars, I will tell you it's okay. On his 5th star, though, you will only add like extra 3% activation and 5% also to the activation of the hero with the highest might after Miyamoto. So I think that is okay if this hero is only at 3 stars. And next up, for your Scipio, I think you can also let him be at 3 stars if you are on a budget. So for me also, if you are on Lagertha's side, you can also use her at a 3 star only. But it's safe to say that it will be better if you have her at 5 star, at least her in the 3 heroes here. Now, if you really want to invest in your with your Miyamoto as a free-to-play player or a low spender, I would suggest having your your Miyamoto first to max out, because he's going to be the first hero to be available in the game, and then next up is Lagertha and then Scipio. So you can actually max this hero out and leave the other heroes that are going to be after this year to at least 3 stars. Now, let's go back to the skills of Scipio Africanus. Now, I have different builds regarding this one. For members only, I have already mentioned what my build is, which is, I think, a broken build, but this is not a broken build. So this build is what I call actually the double edge, because this is going to be pretty much, well actually the double edge should have the King's Blade. So this is actually my double edge build, which will really be super strong when it comes to dealing damage, but it's actually going to be a little weak when receiving damage. So it means that it will rely upon activation chances of the skills and the overall damage output of the whole march here. Now, what are the alternatives for this ring? Now, if you are going to ask me, you can use the Ring of Tulip for your Ring of Effulgent Sun. You can replace that one with this. And since this is a budget build, you can also actually, instead of the Skyward Knight, you can use the Lofty Mountain with this build, and that is another budget build because this will cost 600 jewelers. This will cost 1,600 jewelers, still attainable. And also this one is a free ring. This will still be very good in the battlefield if you are on a budget. Now, next level after this one, you can actually use the Ring of Lion. So Ring of Lion here, you can use the Ring of Lion with your Lofty Mountain and your Ring of Bear. I call this one also the double edge because you will deal that much damage, but you will receive also that much damage is because of the defense or armor reduction of the Ring of Bear. But when you deal the damage at the right place at the right time, it will actually kill off your opponent in an instant. So that's how strong this march is, but also that's how risky this march is, because if the opponent is as strong as you, or like a Lubu maybe, and he crits before you do damage, now that is a different conversation overall. But this is what I call the double edge build. Another one that you can do if you want to be a tanky lineup and you want to be a sustain, this is what I call a sustain build, as you can do instead of your King's Blade, a Righteous Judgment. Now, this is a sustain build, okay? Sustain build. So now here, you can exchange now your High Spirit with Bloodthirst. This is the sustain build. This will not have that much activation, but you need here Skyward Knight in order for this to be a little bit more effective. And if you still want this to be on a budget, you can still do the Ring of Lion. And now, here, you can do the Ring of Deer. Okay. Now this is your budget meal budget build for this March. So this is a sustain build because you're going to need a lot of your healings here. Plus you have your righteous judgment here to actually get more stats or reduce the stats of your enemy or your opponent. But the only problem here is that if you can get your hands on the Skyward Knight, because I know it's like 4,000 Jewelers coin. Now, if you still don't have like the Skyward Knight as your priority, you can actually change this one instead of that to actually High Spirit. And now you can change your Skyward Knight to another ring that can be very helpful, which is your Ring of Lofty Mountain. So this is a little bit less expensive than that. So this is another ring build that you can do with this March. This will also help you out. But as I've said, you can exchange also your Ring of Lion for your Effulgent Sun if you have Effulgent Sun, because I think it's just also 1,600 Jewelers mark, or the Ring of Tulip. So there you go for the builds of your Miyamoto with Scipio and your Lagertha. So I think that those are one of the most or the best budget builds that I can share with you guys. Now there is another build that you can actually do if you want to be more sustained, but you can afford a little bit more on the rings. Is you can get your Tranquil Water here. You can get your Lofty Mountain for your Lagertha. And now you can either use your Ring of Tulip on your Miyamoto, or you can use a different ring completely, like your Ring of Effulgent Sun, which is, in my opinion, a good choice. So also you can still use the Ring of Lion here, but if ever, you can also use here the Ring of Bear in order for you to get more of the might versus the Ring of Lion, because the Ring of Lion will make you a little bit tankier but less might, so less damage. If you want more damage though but a little bit less tankier, you want the Ring of Bear. So those are the builds that you can actually do with your Miyamoto. So you see there we have builds with 2 purple rings, the Lion and the Bear. You can also use that ring here if you're going to ask me. If you're using the Ring of Tranquil here on Scipio, you can also use here the Ring of Bear. So I have used this one for a bit, and I can tell you guys that this really works. Now this is also another build that you may want to really consider because it's really strong also. Okay, now another ring that will actually benefit this March right here is actually the Ring of your Divine Warrior. Now this is not a budget ring build anymore. This is going to be just like an educational purposes. We have Divine Warrior for your Scipio, but I haven't really opened it up yet because I'm not focused on this build or on this March anymore. But you have your Divine Warrior there, plus your Effulgent Sun here. And of course the build should be Furious Charge. And then on your Lagertha, what you can do is either you go for the Ring of Skyward Knight, that is actually a thing for more damage, or you can go again here for the Ring of Bear, which is also very useful, or other players use the Ring of Lofty Mountain. So these are actually the build. So you have Divine Warrior there, plus Effulgent Sun here, plus your Lagertha has this. It will really do a lot of damage. Now, yes, but the ring here, or the build here, should not be this, but rather High Spirit. And also here, what other players are using to be explosive is this one. So these are the builds. You have your Divine Warrior there, you have your Effulgent Sun here, plus Furious Charge and High Spirit, and your of the Mountain, and this specific skill build. Now the next one here for sure is this one. This is my next year after that one. So this is just pertaining to your Miyamoto lineups. Now, what is the build if you're using this one for your Miyamoto? The builds for your skill will still be the same for me, in my opinion. Now, the builds for Tribhuwana, since this is another double-edged sword, is actually this two right here with your King's Blade and Retribution. And a Righteous Judgment. Also here, same build with your Raging Bloodline and High Spirit. Now, what are the rings if you are going to use it this way? So for me, same as before, we have almost the same builds for the ring, in my opinion. Now, the only thing is that if you want to be more tanky, because you can make this lineup tanky, is you can actually change the skill of your King's Blade to a Bloodthirst, and then you can use your Righteous Judgment. This is actually also another thing to make this lineup tanky, and then you can change also your High Spirit because you have a Tribhuwana now. You can replace it with your Bloodthirst also. So now you have two sustain that can actually give you a lot of healing. Now, if you want to be more tanky, you can actually get the Ring of Tranquil also in here. And then for your Miyamoto, you can use the Lion, or you can use the Effulgent Sun for more damage. But for me, you can actually also use this ring build that we have right now, which actually will also still give you a lot of damage, even if you are also doing a lot of healing and good defense. Now, another build here, you can change your Ring of Lion to your Ring of Tulip also, and your Ring of Effulgent Sun. Those are actually the things that you can exchange with Miyamoto. Now, also, there is a build that you can also do, which is change your Ring of Lion to your Lofty Mountain Ring. So if you can afford 2 legendary rings, you can do it this way. But for me, if you cannot afford 2 legendary rings, another one you can do in exchange with this one is actually the Ring of Badger. So Ring of Badger will also help in this one. And if you don't have the Ring of Badger, Ring of Clover will actually also help you out. So those are the budget rings for this particular build. So we now have 2 types of builds for your Miyamoto with Tribhuwana and your Lagertha. Now the question is, do you need your Tribhuwana to be 5-star always? To be honest with you guys, I don't think you need her to be at 5-star, really, to be honest, since you are still going to replace her. But you can make her at least to 3 stars while you are waiting for the next big thing. But you are going to use her though for 5 seasons. So for 5 seasons, that is almost a year. So for me, if you really want to be more, since you're going to use Tribhuwana a lot, I think if you can max her out also, if you have the means, why not? Because it will increase your commander's next signature active skill by 40%, is a huge one also, with other boosts from the Java by 3 seconds, actually is really, really good. And yes, if you can actually afford to max her out while waiting for other heroes, why not? But 3 stars is also good for me, in my opinion. Now, there is also an extra build here that you might want to consider if you want to be tanky and you don't have extra. You can also use here a fortification, which will give all your troops 110 armor. So this is also another option. So here you go. Those are the builds that I want you guys to actually consider. So now that we have finished on the Lagertha with Tribhuwana, the next one is for sure, if we don't have Tribhuwana, the next one is we have Mehmed. So let's say that you have Mehmed on the season. To be honest, I don't really like this build. It is tanky, to be honest, but for me, you're going to waste this extra activation. 50% chance to let the hero with the highest might, excluding the caster, cast a signature active skill or turn-based skill. And with extra skill damage here. So you're going to miss that one. Because this is a turn-based skill, it will activate, but you are going to miss the damage. So that is actually another thing. You're going to miss that damage. Although, if you want this build, I would suggest you go for Owl's Lament plus Peaceful Haven here to be tanky. And then you should change your skills here on Miyamoto. Instead of your Furious Charge, you need to go for your Peerless Strike instead, or Earth Crush. But I do like Peerless better than your Earth Crush. So here, on the Tribhuwana build, you don't need to be tanky anymore. So what you can do is either you go for King's Blade plus Righteous Judgment. Those are the 2 options. Those are the 2 skills that you want to do if you already have a Mehmed, because you need that much more damage. Or if you want to be fancy, you can do a Fearless Strike instead of the Righteous Judgment. But for me, still, the Righteous Judgment will give you a little bit more edge when it comes to defense, including the reduction of the might and strategy of the other heroes. So for the rings, particularly almost the same though, but you can do a Ring of Falcon here on your Mehmed to give you more healing, more sustainability. And here on your Tribhuwana, you can now get your Lofty Mountain here. You don't need here anymore, for me, the Ring of Tranquil. So for the damage here, you can either go for your Effulgent Sun or your Tulip or Lion, which will help this lineup so much, really, to be honest. But I want the Effulgent Sun here instead to have more extra damage, because there's actually no other heroes that are going to give you damage in this lineup. So I want you to have Effulgent Sun here, and if you only can afford 1 legendary, then change the Ring of Lofty Mountain to either Badger, or you can actually also go for your Ring of clover. So those are the rings that you want to do if you're going to ask me. Now you can also make this lineup a little bit more of a damage oriented build. You can run a ring of deer here, a ring of let's say we can use this one as the ring of tranquil, and also effulgent sun. If you don't have effulgent sun, you can use either the ring of lion or ring of tulip. So those are the rings that you can actually use for your Miyamoto. Now, for example, as I've said, you now also don't have your effulgent sun. Just change this one to another defensive ring. You're going to be good for the remainder of the build. So I think, yeah, those are the builds that you want to actually have for your if you have a Mehmed with you. So as you can see, we are changing builds depending on the hero that is in the lineup. That is actually should be done, because you're going to have a good build if you have these kinds of changes, and you need to adapt depending on the lineup that you have. Now here, as you can see, we already have 2 damage dealer, and Yodit is going to deal so much damage because of your Miyamoto's activation, and you already know that. Now the build for your Yodit is you need to actually use again your Furious Charge here. Your Yodit will have your Furious Charge because Miyamoto is going to activate your Yodit's signature skills that often. And with the help of your Tribhuwana, you will help your Miyamoto with activation. And then Miyamoto is going to help your Yodit with activation. And you helping your Yodit here will give you a damage immunity for 1 second. There's only a chance, but it will help your Yodit's damage. And since your Miyamoto has an activation extra for your Yodit for 50%, and also an extra 30% damage for this one, your Yodit is going to deal a lot of damage. So that is also a good one there. And this should be your build, your Furious Charge, and then your Executor here. It will give you really a lot of value. Now the thing here is your builds there for your Miyamoto for me should be the Peerless Strike or Earth Crush. Those two are still the option here, because as I've said, you need the extra damages here. You don't need a Furious Charge here, because the thing is I know that you can activate your skill enough to actually max it out, but you need extra damage for me, in my opinion. But here, on this side of things, you can now be more tanky. You can choose to be more tanky. You can do a Fortification plus a Bloodthirst. This is going to be your tanky build. You can also switch this lineup, or switch this one with your Righteous Judgment plus your Bloodthirst. And then you can also switch this up with your Righteous Judgment plus your Fortification. That will also work. But for me, the best part here is you have your Fortification plus your Bloodthirst. You have your Fortification plus your Bloodthirst. That will be that will give you a lot of tankiness. Now, having that said, if this is your build and you want to be tanky but you have damage, now your build should be like this. You have your Tranquil Water here. Now, you don't need any more activation, to be honest, in my opinion. You just need this ring here. Now, for your Yodit, you can use the Ring of Deer to help this line up more when it comes to the damage. So this is actually one of the standard builds that you can do with this March. This is a tanky, sustain build. This is what it's called. Another ring here, Ring of Lion. You can use the Ring of Lion instead of the Effulgent Sun. That is the tanky build. Now, there is another double-edged build or double-edged sword build that you can consider if you want to be super damage dealing here. So you can change this one to your Skyward Knight. So you just need to really have at least 1 legendary there. If you can afford that one, that will be better. If you can afford this one, it will be better. But you can change this one again, as I've said, to your Lofty Mountain. Or if you cannot get your Lofty Mountain again, Ring of Lion. Ring of Lion again, yes. And then Ring of Deer still here on your Yodit will really help this lineup a lot. Now, also, another thing I forget is to change your skills. If you want to be this kind if you have this kind of build, this is what you want. You want your King's Blade to be your first skill here. You can still hold on to the ring, to the Bloodthirst here, but you can also replace it with a Righteous Judgment. But for me, I think Bloodthirst here will be enough, as long as you have the King's Blade, because this is the important or one of the integral part of this build here to be effective. Once your King's Blade activates and this two activates their skills, it will be a huge damage output from your Miyamoto. I don't suggest though the Ring of Bear in here, because you're going to be super squishy if you have the Ring of Bear here in this kind of build. So as you can see there, I hope you are now understanding how the builds work and why we are choosing the rings that we are choosing with the specific builds of the skills. So I just want you guys to see this perspective that is available here on these marches. Now, all the marches that I have shown you are all budget builds, right? And right now, if you are in Season 1, the only other hero that you want here in Season 1 for sure is your King Derrick, which is King Derrick will be for sure at least 3 stars to 5 stars in Season 1. What you can do is actually place your King Derrick in there, and your skill for your King Derrick should be, you have your, either if you don't want to spend on the here on the skill medals, you can use Sunder, because that's going to be a route effect. That's what we're going for. So use your Sunder here. And if you want at least one medal, I think you should go for Righteous Judgment. Sunder and Righteous Judgment. That is your build here, Season 1. Now, make sure that your King Derrick has higher might than your Tribhuwana, because if your Tribhuwana has higher might than your King Derrick, then the bonus effect of your Miyamoto's extra activation chance and your extra damage will be wasted, because Tribhuwana doesn't have a damage on her skill. So, you want to just keep your Tribhuwana at 1 star in Season 1. And once Season 2 hits and Yodit is available, you can now get her to 3 stars. So this is what players are doing. They are using Tribhuwana only at 1 star for Season 1, because in order for them to actually not get that much might on Tribhuwana. So just 1 star Tribhuwana, 3 star to 5 star King Derrick. Make sure your King Derrick has higher might. Now, the skill build though for your King Derrick is what I have said already. Do not change that build though. So for your Miyamoto now, the important part here is actually your Earth Crush. You need your Earth Crush on your Miyamoto here, because in order for you to get that route effect. And King Derrick has a route effect, continuous damage, and bonuses on his signature skills. That's why you need Earth Crush instead of Fear the Strike, but you still need your High Spirit in order for you to activate your Earth Crush and your signature active skills. In the process, you're going to continuously deal damage through the route effect. Now, for the rings, you can adopt any ring build that we have used so far. And as I've said, if you can remember all the builds that we have already made for your Tribhuwana, just apply it to this build. Every ring build that we have from your Yodit and the skills combination with together with those rings, you can apply it from your Yodit's vantage point earlier to this build. So those are the budget-friendly builds, and also some bonus builds that I can think of when I'm talking about Miyamoto. Since I've been using Miyamoto since Season 1, I have built every single build that I have included in this video. The only exception is Mehmed. So I didn't really had time anymore to focus on Mehmed, because the Miyamoto with Tribhuwana and your Yodit really give me a lot of damage output already, so I don't really want to get Mehmed anymore and just waited for Lagertha. So there it is. If you're going to actually pursue Miyamoto, Scipio, and Lagertha in the future, what you want to do is skip some heroes, or maybe just open them up or unlock them. So in Season 1, just 1 star for Tribhuwana, then you use King Derrick with your Miyamoto. Season 2, you can get your Yodit right away. You can get her to just 3 stars and just wait it out. You can use like 3 stars Yodit, 3 stars Tribhuwana, 5 star Miyamoto. Then Season 4, your Lagertha comes, just replace Yodit with Lagertha, and you're going to have a blast with that March. Then when Scipio comes, you just replace your Tribhuwana with Scipio. This video could help you out, and maybe if you are a new player, or maybe you are in the middle of Season 2, Season 3, or whichever or wherever your season are right now, hopefully this video will do you good and will help you out. And if you did benefit from this video, please give us a thumbs up, and then share this video with your friends or alliances so that you can also help them out in the process. If you're new to the channel, you like this kind of video, or maybe you are a new player for Age of Empires Mobile, please do give us love by subscribing, and also ring the bell so you will always be notified soon as we have a new video just for you guys. And for those of you guys who wants to be members, we have a few members only video already circulating in our page or in our channel, and more will come in the next coming weeks. Also, another thing is, another advantage of being a member is we can have a one-on-one coaching on my Facebook page. So just hit me up if you're a member from YouTube, and if you are a member from our YouTube channel, as long as you are an elite member, you can actually hit me up in Facebook and show me your membership, and we're going to go from there. So anything you want to know about the game, anything you want to know about advantages as a leader, as just a regular member of an alliance, from heroes, from how to strategize in the game and everything, I will be there for you. And as always, squad, have a great day to everyone. This is your TITOBODS, and I will see you in the next one. And hey, click on this video right here for more awesome TITOBODS content. Thanks for watching, you guys, and TITOBODS out.